Freeing the Innocent. Tonight at 6, we kick off part 1 of our 2-part series on wrongful prison convictions here in Michigan and across the country.
It's a problem affecting tens of thousands of people and their families nationwide. Dana White is here for you now live in our studio. She's been taking a look into this issue. Dana, what have you found out?
Lauren and Sherry, the numbers are shocking, and while there has been some progress in getting those wrongfully convicted out of prison, experts on the topic say there's still a long way to go. Danya Davis, 7 years. Kenneth Wynemko, 9 years. Nathaniel Hatchett, 10 years. Jamie Peterson, 16 years. Eddie Lloyd, 17 years. Walter Swift, 26 years. 6 people, 6 different stories. All served time behind bars in Michigan for crimes they did not commit.
It's really important for the public to think about the fact that this is an issue that actually affects everyone.
According to the National Innocence Project, about 20,000 people in prison right now are innocent. An issue Marla Mitchell-Sisson has made her #1 priority.
These are very difficult cases, and oftentimes my office and other offices, we work years to release one individual.
In fact, the National Registry of Exonerations reports only 2,500 people in the United States have been exonerated to date, including 166 who served time on death row.
The leading contributing factor is misidentification, not surprisingly.
Mitchell-Sisson says other causes for wrongful convictions can include misconduct by police and prosecutors and poor legal representation.
We also are particularly poor at identifying individuals from a different race.
It's really angering in a way that, these people were convicted and it's so clear that they didn't commit the crime.
In Michigan, Senate Bill 291 passed in 2016 compensates those who are wrongfully convicted and released and offers them up to $50,000 within 3 years of exoneration. But Kelly McGuire, a Cooley Law student at the Innocence Project, says the transition for those released isn't easy.
Some of these people have been in prison for 40+ years. So by the time they get out, where are they going to go? A lot of them don't have family left, friends left.
It's something Kenneth Wynemko can personally relate to.
I was sentenced to 40 to 60 years in prison for this crime that I did not commit. I had no prior record, criminal record up until that point.
Wynemko was accused of 15 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, armed robbery, and rape in 1994. A crime he remembers hearing about in the newspapers, but never imagining he'd go to jail for.
And I told him, I said, Your Honor, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I told the police. You're making a terrible mistake. I didn't know who this woman was. I'd never raped a woman or mistreated a woman in my life. And I told him, I made it very clear to him, I can't show remorse for something I didn't do or have any knowledge of. And the judge told me that he didn't care what I thought. The jury of my peers found me guilty, and you have a nice life. And he sent me to Jackson prison for 40 to 60 years.
Wynemko was exonerated in 2003, and 16 years later, he's a free man, using his time to help others who are wrongfully convicted in hopes of giving them a second chance at life.
If you could send a message or advice to the people who are behind bars right now who are innocent, what would it be?
The first thing I would tell them is never, ever lose your faith. Keep praying. God will answer your prayers in His time. Never give up hope, never give up faith. And if there's any way that I or anyone at the Innocence Projects that I'm associated with can help, please write. You can write to the Thomas Cooley Law School in Lansing. We'd be more than happy to help, and we don't charge a penny.
Wow. Those 6 people that you talked about at the beginning, all different stories, different times in prison for crimes they didn't commit.
And to see just all of their faces, it took an impact, yeah.
So how are these cases solved?
Yeah, well, most commonly is post-conviction DNA testing, which became legal in Michigan in 2001. And the state also has a conviction integrity unit now, which helps free those wrongfully accused. But as Marla mentioned, it's really a job for everyone. And
Kenneth's story, Wynemko, who we just talked about. It goes much deeper than that, so I will have more from him coming up tonight on 6 News at 11.
Wow,
Look
amazing.
forward to that. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
We're here for you tonight with part 2 of our 2-part series on an organization called the Innocence Project. It's working to free those wrongfully accused in crimes in our country. Dana White is joining us now. Dana, tell me what we've learned throughout this. It's been an incredible investigation on your part.
Oh yeah, well thank you, Sherry. As we reported in part 1 of this series, roughly 2,500 people in the United States have been exonerated by DNA testing to date, and of those people, 166 served time on death row. Now it's an issue many are working to shine a light on, and I got the chance to sit down with one Metro Detroit man who went through the entire thing firsthand, and he says it's an experience that changed his life forever.
I promised the Lord when I was in prison, if he would bring the truth to light, for the rest of my life, I would dedicate the rest of my life to helping other men and women prove their innocence. Because no one in this country should have to go through what I or my fellow exonerees had to go through. Never.
Kenneth Wynemko grew up in Metro Detroit. He had big dreams and a bright future ahead of him until...
Unfortunately, in 1994, I was arrested, wrongfully convicted of a crime that I didn't commit. There was 15 counts of CSC 1, rape in the first degree, armed robbery, and rape.
According to court records, the victim testified she was repeatedly raped over a 3-hour time period, saying the man tied her to her bed, blindfolded her with underwear, and stole $2,500 from her purse. She
said that he had a deep cleft chin, a deep voice, deep guttural voice. She estimated his height at 6'2" to 6'3". His weight about 220, 230 pounds, about 30 years old. At the time, I was 43 years old, 5'10". I weighed 185 pounds.
Wynemko says police showed up at his house 10 weeks after the crime and arrested him.
I said, you know, what I don't even know what you're talking about. And she mentioned the lady's name. I said, I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who that lady is.
He says he was bullied by police, the lead detective telling him.
He says, you know what, Wynemko? He says, I'm going to start calling you the $1 Million Man. I said, you want to tell me what that's supposed to mean? Because I have no idea what you're talking about. His exact words were, Wynemko, by the time I get done with you, it's going to cost you $1 million to get out of prison.
Court records show during trial, evidence proved that Wynemko had a different blood type than what was left on the victim's sheets. But another prisoner testified that Wynemko did commit the crime. Records also showed that the prisoner had made a deal with the prosecutor to avoid a life sentence in his own case.
2 days later, a jury came back, found me guilty on all counts. I was sentenced to 40 to 60 years in prison.
That happened on November 9th, his father's birthday.
I felt like someone had hit me with a stun gun. I felt like all I could see was like fog. And for a minute, I thought I died and I was in hell. I don't know where the hell I was at. It's like I was frozen in time. And you know, it's a day that I'll never forget. No matter how, I've been home now for 16 years, and no matter how hard I try to forget it, I can't.
After spending nearly a decade behind bars, studying the law, and working with the Innocence Project towards his release, Wynemko won his battle and became a free man.
Those years in prison, what got you through it? What, like, day to day, seeing all of that stuff?
My faith in God, number one.
It's now his life's purpose to help others, going through the nightmare that he did.
No one should especially have to go through a situation that's so egregious as mine was, where we proved in federal court that the 3 detectives, the assistant prosecutor, the trial judge, the court-appointed attorney, and the jailhouse snitch, they all conspired to convict an innocent man.
Unfortunately, Wynemko's father passed away while he was behind bars. One of the first things he did when he got out was visit his father's grave.
We went to the grave. Kim and I knelt down, got on my knees, and I kissed his headstone. I said, Dad, I made it home. I made it home. Dana, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. All of a sudden, there was like this light drizzle coming down on me and Kim, okay? And I looked at her, and Kim looked at me. She said, "Kenny, what's going on?" And I looked up in the sky and said, there's not a cloud anywhere. And I told Kim, I said, "Kim, that's my dad knows that I made it home. That's what that tells me. And that I'll never forget that as long as I live."
What a story.
Oh, I know. He was such a strong man, and just to hear him say it out loud, it was very powerful.
Did they ever catch the man who actually did the crime, Dana?
Yes, they did. His name is Craig Gonzer, and unfortunately, he couldn't be charged for this crime specifically because it was outside of the statute of limitations. But he did get sentenced to 10 to 25 years in prison in 2010 for exposing himself to his 1-year-old daughter and for other sexual acts in the 1990s.
So if someone wants to get more involved with the Innocence Project after hearing your story, what should they do? Where should they go?
Oh yeah, so I posted all of that information on our website, WLNS.com, under the Scene on 6 section, and I've also posted a link to Ken's website. He wrote a book about his entire experience, so that is up there as well.
All right, thank you for bringing this story to us.
Of course.
We appreciate it.